Hey everyone, this is Chris. Welcome back to the channel. So we got some news for Nvidia, and unfortunately, it's not good news. Basically, the government sent Nvidia notice to restrict sales to China and Russia. Nvidia is like, well, we don't really sell anything to Russia now. However, we do sell things to China, and obviously they got to comply with the government. The basic gist of it is that the U.S. government is concerned if some of the chips made by Nvidia would be used for the Chinese military. And I think this is actually quite interesting because there could be more other companies involved. Just talking out loud with you guys, I don't know which ones are going to be. I have no idea. But this is sort of what I'm posing to the community is if the government is saying Nvidia, may be selling chips to China, then those chips may end up being used in the Chinese military. What other companies could be affected? So I was thinking, like, for example, I could see food, right? For example, just, it turns out that we have food companies that, sell food to China, and then that food is then used on military bases, that kind of thing. I was saying, for example, it could be any number of things. I don't know if the other chip companies are going to be involved with this. But I do think it does fit the overall narrative that the U.S. government has been saying regarding China. So if you may or may not know, the government has been mentioning all along that it does not want American investors to invest in Chinese companies with ties to the Chinese military, because that certainly is a conflict of interest moving forward, right? Let's say if there's ever any kind of military conflict with China, be it directly with the U.S. or say we're shipping weapons to one side and China shipping away to the other side, and it turns out that American investors are investing in companies that are helping the Chinese military. I'm sure you guys get the conflict of interest there. So one of the things that the U.S. has been doing is saying, hey, China, we want to know all of your companies that have any connections to the Chinese military. If they're listed on our market, we're probably going to kick them off. And now we're essentially saying, the U.S. government is saying, if there are any companies that are selling technology that can be used in parts of the Chinese military, we're going to be restricting sales. So I think this is actually really interesting because it really demonstrates like how connected we are. You could make the case, like, for example, we get some crazy trade war where China's like, we make iPhones, in China here, and we know that people in the U.S. military use iPhones, as, for example. And you could have some sort of like crazy security risks on either side, or you could say, like, for example, people in China, like if, like, for example, we want to hack one of their phones, the U.S. government could be like, hey, Apple, you should let us hack phones for national security. This actually came up. This actually has been. How can I say? This has been an issue before, to where the government's like, hey, Apple, give us the keys to unlock your phones because of national security risks, etc. And Apple's always make the case of like, hey, we're a company, we're going to try to stay neutral, and you're not hacking our phones regardless if it's national security or not, which I think is a really fascinating issue. And I know people have different points of view on that, but I think this is somewhat related to the Nvidia situation. So, I'm posing this question to you. Do you agree or disagree that the U.S. government should restrict sales of companies that sell technology to China or Russia that, in fact, might help or benefit their military or be used in their military, right? Be it chips, be it software, could be another one. Like, for example, theoretically, Microsoft, I'm saying theoretically, would have software that would be involved in the military. Theoretically, our cybersecurity companies could sell technology to these things. And this is sort of like what I said, there's some crazy trade war to where we're not, fully letting our companies trade freely with China or Russia, and then the reverse can happen here as well. And again, this is why there's a huge sort of how can you say, conflict of interest, or just joined at the hip kind of stuff, because remember, Chinese companies are over here in our U.S. markets trying to get money from us. But also, too, to be fair, our U.S. companies sell a lot of goods to China, and we try to get money from them. So it's what I said. Hence, we could have a crazy trade war where it really exposes like how connected we all are. So just want to share this with you. This is why Nvidia stock is falling. Nvidia has said they're going to try to get an exception to this restriction, and obviously they want to sell things. From my understanding, this is worth about $400 million thus far. We'll see, obviously anything else can happen as more things are disclosed. So just wanted to share this with you. We're kind of wondering what the heck's going on. The other thing is, too, is this is a weak market for chips, because many of the computer companies are all saying that, hey, everybody bought a whole bunch of stuff during the pandemic because we're all at home, work from home kind of stuff. We're all playing video games, and everyone, hey, we're all crypto mining, doing this kind of stuff. those things have ended, and people don't necessarily need to buy more chips. So, obviously, then Nvidia wants to try to sell chips any way they can. We'll see what happens with this, but I do think this is serious, as I showed you guys in the SEC fine. It's a real thing. So, thanks again for your time. Want to hear your thoughts on this one. Do you think the U.S. government should restrict Nvidia from selling chips to China or Russia, and worry that they will ultimately use it in the Chinese military or the Russian military? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.